Hello, everybody, and welcome to the I Am Become Death, Destroyer of Worlds podcast. Today I am joined by my fellow host, Villasaurus Rex, and as always, I am Handi capable. Have anything to say for yourself, Mr. Rex, before we get into this?
Yeah, I'm just a little gamer in a gamer world. Life is plastic. It's fantastic.
Oh, yeah? Really? That's crazy.
Yeah, you can brush my hair, but you can't undress me anywhere unless you have my consent.
That is important. That definitely is important. But you excited for Barbie and Oppenheimer, man?
Yeah, it's kind of surreal because I feel like the Barbenheimer the meme has been building up since the beginning of this year, and it's like finally here, right? Like I have tickets to see Oppenheimer in IMAX, and I'm probably gonna try to go see Barbie, if not this weekend, maybe the next weekend. Also, today's date is July 16th, 2023, Sunday. Little divergence from our normal streaming schedule, but we do what works. Yeah. Are you confirmed seeing both movies?
I got my IMAX ticket for Oppenheimer, and there's luckily a time after the Oppenheimer IMAX near the IMAX near me where Barbie's showing, so I did get a ticket for Barbie as well because it's just so stupid that I have to do it, you know?
I can't believe they're showing both of them at the at IMAX. Like Oppenheimer, I can understand, but like I just wonder is gonna happen in Barbie that requires an IMAX theater with IMAX sound.
Not all the theater rooms in an IMAX theater are IMAX style.
Oh, I did not know that. Okay.
Yeah. It's just the special ones that so they can label as IMAX, you know?
Okay. Otherwise, yeah. I suppose that makes sense because you probably don't always have IMAX movies coming in.
Yeah, it's mostly Marvel movies, Dune, any Christopher Nolan movie. That's about it when I think of IMAX, I guess.
So what's the schedule, Handy?
So so I wake up at 10 a.m., drive to where I need to go. 12 p.m., go get food and stuff with friends. Uh, then at 3, we have to be at the movie for Oppenheimer. Go see that. Have existential dread after the movie, and then at 8 p.m., go and see Barbie. And no longer have existential dread over nukes. But also, I'm just typed to see Josh Peck and Roderick.
Wait a minute. Josh Peck is in the what? How did I miss that?
Josh Peck and Roderick are in Oppenheimer.
Interesting. I guess I missed it just because Oppenheimer's kind of full of, yeah, star-studded cast. Emily Blunt's in there, Cillian Murphy, Florence Pugh, Matt Damon. So it would make sense that like I wouldn't even consider them.
You saying Josh Peck is a star-studded cast member?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is that like it would make sense? Like, what do we even consider like C tier celebrity? They wouldn't use precious seconds of marketing to be like, oh, also Josh Peck is in here.
Listen, if I heard Josh Peck was in the movie even earlier, I would have been even more hyped for the movie to the point where I am now within how many days? Within 6 days. Yeah, 6 days from seeing the movie. Uh, Wait, no, 5 days. God. Uh, I'm just really hyped for it. And also Roderick from Diary of the Wimpy Kid, that actor. That's hilarious to me.
How does that happen? Their agents must be like amazing. Like even if they're just on the screen for like 2 minutes, like how did they manage to work their way into a Christopher Nolan film? It's hilarious.
Listen, Christopher Nolan, just a huge fan of Diary of the Wimpy Kid by Jeff Keighley. Why did I say Jeff Keighley? Jeff's the main character, that's why.
Yeah, Jeff. Isn't it Jeff Healy is the main character in Diary of a Wimpy Kid? Something. Or isn't it Greg? I don't know. I haven't read those books in a while.
Oh, Greg Heffley. And the author's first name is Jeff, spelt like Jeff Keighley.
A quick fun fact: Greg Heffley, the actor from the movies for the Diary of a
Didn't he get arrested?
No, I don't think. My fun fact was going to be that he recently replaced someone, Tignari in Genshin, as their English voice actor because the original English voice actor got into trouble. So they're like, "Oh, re-recording all your lines." Greg Heffley is doing it.
I want to be, I would pay to be Genshin voice actor. It would be funny. Just the one character I pull from that game minus the random few characters that I reinstall the game to pull and then uninstall the game to pull.
You're one of those re-rollers.
Listen. I just need all the funny characters.
All the funny husbandos.
Yes. I need all of them. So whenever a new one comes out, I reinstall, get the character, uninstall, so I don't feed my addiction too much, you know?
That's terrible. Oh my god. Anyways, I'll just quickly go over my Oppenheimer schedule. As I'll wake up at 8 a.m. No, I'll wake up at 6 a.m. on a Saturday and watch the sun rise and smoke a pack of cigarettes and think about life and morality and the fragility of human existence. And then I'll make my way over to the IMAX theater and smoke another pack of cigarettes. And then I'll go inside and smoke another cigarette in solidarity. All, mind you, while wearing my like 3-piece suit and my funny Oppenheimer hat.
So we're already at $75 for 3 packs of cigarettes, a couple $100 for the suit. Okay, continue.
Yeah, like 20-something bucks for the Oppenheimer ticket. And then I'm just gonna, for breakfast, is a single cup of black coffee.
Just that? Not even like an over easy egg with burnt toast or something?
You know what? I feel like a terrible, like a single cigarette with like a black coffee would be like kind of artsy, but I think if we want to induce max misery, definitely just like burnt toast and like a super well done egg, like really dry, you know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying, yeah.
And no sauces. Eat that and then get out of Oppenheimer, experience ego death, and then get dressed up in my all pink outfit, start slamming mimosas, and then go watch Barbie, and then hit up the town. I think that's the optimal Barbenheimer schedule.
Yeah, probably. Especially all the cigarettes. You might have lung cancer afterwards, but you gotta stay in character, you know?
Yeah, and then I can't wait to sit in the very front of the IMAX theater and like my flesh gets torn off by Christopher Nolan's realistic depiction of the nuclear bomb. Just the marketing behind like Oppenheimer has been like, people always talk about Barbie marketing, but like, yeah, just like the marketing going behind Oppenheimer just makes me laugh too, because it's equally ridiculous but in an opposite direction, you know? Where people are talking about like the IMAX reel is over 60 miles long or something and it weighs like 600 pounds, and they're talking about how he recreated the first nuclear explosion with practical effects, and it's like, what does this mean, Christopher Nolan?
He used most of the budget on a whole bunch of dynamite, probably, just for one big explosion.
I mean, he's also the type of person to do the calculation that it was cheaper to like buy an actual like Boeing plane and crash it rather than do it in CGI. So does not surprise me.
Or maybe he just straight up bought a nuke, set it off in the desert.
Yeah, just remove like the fission material or whatever. The fissile material.
The radiation part, remove that part. But I thought it's something interesting. Back to my Genshin addiction gambling spiel.
Well, what would that be?
So husbandos, right? So there's a game you were streaming recently. You might remember it. It's called Boyfriend Dungeon.
Oh boy, do I remember that.
Yeah. I saw you playing it, and I got it, and I gotta say, it's a whole lot of fun, man. I wanna hear your thoughts, and yeah.
So I basically 100%ed it, or at least 100%ed the parts that I wanted to do, which was like max relationships with all the love interests, and then clear out all the dungeons. And I will say, for what it is, like I didn't go in expecting like a Hades, type game, but yeah, for what it is, it's pretty damn good. Like I like all the characters and love interests, and even if I like didn't want to romance them, I will say I kind of just did a like a harem run essentially, and there's no consequence to doing that.
Horny 100% run.
Oh yeah, like I must pretend I do not thirst, but I still did, and yeah, I don't normally play visual novels or dating sim type games, but I really enjoyed this one, and I don't know if it's because that the characters are also weapons, or the fact that you could like break up the little dates or vignettes by going into the dungeon and just like exploring that, and having like a fun little like isometric action gameplay. But overall, I like I enjoyed my time with it so much that I think the last stream where I finished it all up, I ended up streaming for 7 hours, which was absolutely insane because I did not expect me to dedicate that much time to that game, but I did, and I do not regret it. What about you? What's your experience?
It really is a really good game, but before I get into like my actual experience with it, just for people listening, Boyfriend Dungeon, it's a hack and slash roguelike game like Hades. However, to unlock weapons and to level them and progress them and stuff, rather than like collecting materials to do such, you actually romance characters outside of the dungeons. Most being guys, hence Boyfriend Dungeon, but there are some girls.
Yeah, and there's even non-binary or like gender fluid characters, and most important of all, there's a cat. And don't worry, you don't do anything sus to the cat. Even though for some people that might be like a negative, but
Hopefully, it's not a negative to a lot of people. But it takes a new spin on the Hades style game, and I just really like it. Overall, my experience with the game was really good because, like, I saw you playing the game on stream, and then I was like, you know what, I'll get it because I watched like you stream it for 6 hours straight, and we're like halfway through the game at that point. And I was like, this looks like fun. I need a game to play. I'll get it. That night I played probably 7 hours of the game, and like my brain comprehended how to progress the fastest throughout the game type thing in that short amount of time, to where I had like almost all the characters to max rank and just needed to go through all the dungeons.
yeah, I'm pretty sure like I was streaming like the last few bits of the game, and we were talking to each other while it was happening, and I'm pretty sure that you ended up finishing the game before I even did.
Yeah. I remember you woke up to stream the next day finishing the game, and you just took a screenshot of how I got like half of the achievements in 7 hours and said bruh, and I was like, listen, I have a problem. But I really enjoyed the game. It's really fun. Unlike Rex, I did not go for the 100% horny route.
I mean, that is the nice part, that you can actively choose to be platonic, like have a platonic relationship with their prospective love interests.
I wish I could beat up people. I wish that was a choice. I would beat up Olivia. Yeah. I found myself like just trying to figure out who my favorite characters out of the characters were, because at certain points of the games you have to specifically choose characters to do specific things, and in the end of the game, that the character you choose the most and developed the most, even past like hidden behind max rank, will have like a little extra dialogue at the end. So I didn't realize this, but I had a feeling something like that would be the case. So most of the game to me was figuring out which character was my favorite out of them, and I think all of them, my top three were Sawyer, who's a non-binary college kid who just reminded me a lot about myself. Then there was Rowan, who's just a gender fluid witch person who's hilarious. And third place goes to Seven, who's funny K-pop and just super depressed, but I love him. He's great. My least favorite character probably uh this not saying the name, but a stalker character. He's my least favorite in the game. Uh, and then there's just this a really annoying character by the name of Olivia that just annoyed me so much that they're also my least favorite.
It is kind of impressive how like like it's kind of fun. It reminds me of Ace Attorney, how like she'll pop up in other people's stories just to be annoying.
Yeah, like Sevens especially, she was like super fanning over another person in the K-pop group, and rather than showing like any sort of respect towards Seven, she was like, you should give this to this person. I don't care about you, but give this to this person because I can't figure out how to get in contact with them type thing over and over again, and just overstepping their boundaries a lot. Uh when it comes to the actual like dateable weapon characters though, I all their characters are good because despite like me not liking their personalities or something like that, each character is a different weapon type and has different powers and strengths and weaknesses. Like there's an axe that does stupid heavy attack damage.
Yeah, and like you literally like their heavy attack is you literally swing them around and they can like drag you across the room essentially, and you do it in like wide arcs, which is pretty fun.
There's one that immobilizes and stuns all enemies. There's all sorts of different combinations, but yeah, they're all crazy. Also, storytelling in the game is just really good in my honest opinion.
I'll just really quickly go over my like top three weapons.
I will be judging.
Yeah, and I feel like so some of them, especially I will say Seven is one of my unexpected favorites, just because I don't normally go for that type of like idol type character, but he ended up proving himself to have a lot more dimension than I initially thought, and it also helps that he's a laser sword and that his ability is to like shock enemies, and like the electricity can arc from enemy to enemy, and so you can just clear entire rooms by spamming his heavy attacks, and it's amazing. And he ended up being a lot more sympathizable than I initially expected. Valeria, of course, Valeria the dagger. She is like a, how would you say it? Like a Banksy, like underground artist type character. And just her initial impression, like meeting her in the dungeon. Oh yeah, I think an important aspect is most but not all of the characters that you end up utilizing as weapons, you end up meeting them in the dungeon, and there's the kind of this the main story is that someone's been going around kidnapping weapons, and like they call it chipping them, which is like like yeah, like they essentially like let them rust or like chip the blade or just like rough them up a bit, and they just leave them stranded in the dungeon. So that's another fun aspect of getting further and further into the dungeons in the game, is that you end up meeting more characters, which is awesome. And she made a strong impression on me because it like I always overthink in these games, because the fact that I don't know if we skimmed over it, but the fact that the weapons that you use are people, and they call, I forgot, what did they call them, like weapon people or like sword people, because they're not all of them are swords either. Like it doesn't even they don't even have to be like edged weapons, and it's just something.
There's a stick.
Yeah, there is like a stick who wanted to become like a baseball bat or like a bow staff or something. And oh yes, there was another, in one of the side stories, they mentioned that they have a friend that's a pool cue, which is funny to think about. But anyways, I was thinking way too hard about Like, what is like etiquette like with weapon people? And the first time you meet Valeria, she's like, "Hey, I don't appreciate the fact that you just kind of like grabbed me without asking me." And I was like, "Okay, respect." And then, depending on your actions on your first initial meeting with her, she'll have different dialogue in your second encounter with her, which I thought was like pretty neat. I always like when visual novel type games or games in general just acknowledge your past actions. And I think her whole little story arc was pretty fun. Just her own journey of like kind of recognizing what she wants out of life. And her power as a dagger is that she like her attacks come out like fast, and she has the ability to daze people by rolling behind them, which ends up being like overpowered. Like a lot of the weapons are more on the overpowered side, which is nice because like it's not this game doesn't really need balancing a lot, to be honest, since a lot of the gameplay isn't really focused on the challenge.
It's more of a dating sim than an actual hack and slash, but it's fun with both aspects. I will say, Valeria was in my top 3 till the end of her storyline. I won't get into it here, but sort of just weirded me out a little, and she's just not in my top 3 anymore, but continue.
Okay. And yeah, I will say that this game has great representation in the fact that there's like many people from many different like walks of life and a lot of like different representations of like gender and sexuality. And so my third favorite, oh my god, it probably has to be Rowan. Like there's no as soon as I met Rowan and they threatened to kill me and called me a doormat, I was like, you know what?
Called you a bottom, to be precise.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe you're the one. Yeah, you did. And I was like, I'm gonna prove you wrong, buddy. And then we just ended up becoming great friends. And the fact that they're a scythe and I'm like an edgy teen, and we're both can kind of be like edgy teens at heart together, just really made a lot of sense. And also, Rowan has a crow, so that's like a 2-for-1 right there, a crow companion.
Oh yes, the crow influencer.
Yeah. Oh god. And another great detail that I loved in the game is the fact that you can like meet, you can see people like your friends hanging out with each other in the overworld and get like little mini like cutscenes interactions there. Like Rowan and Pocket the cat have an interaction where Crowley and Pocket are fighting over like a dead rat, which is pretty fun.
I remember that one, and Crowley got very angry at me when I said split the rat in half.
Yeah. And yeah, you can use the opportunity to like try to gain more favor with like one person or the other, or to like try to gain favor with them both. And so yeah, that's my top 3. So if I had a criticism of the game though, it would be I kind of expected there to be more dungeons, because as it exists, in the base game, yeah, technically in the base game there's only 2, right?
There's 3. So for the base game, when it originally came out in 2021, the game had the first dungeon, the bar dungeon, and then technically it's not even the third dungeon, but the final boss. And then in the DLC, which is just a free update a year after it released, they added a 4th dungeon for a school dungeon. It lacks a lot of content, but I feel like maybe they'll make a second one or make more DLC as the 2nd year anniversary approaches. Like, they just started announcing stuff like a D&D RPG-like thing for it. Yeah.
Yeah, that would fit the world really nicely, because this is one of those worlds where it's different enough to be interesting, but it's like simple enough for you to understand it really quickly without, being bogged down in like years and years of history or whatever. Like in this world, it's basically like ours, except people can turn into weapons and like dungeons can just pop up, and like that's basically it. It's nice and simple.
I wish the game didn't take me only 12 hours to 100%, like all the achievements and stuff. That's another criticism I would give it. As well as just the fact that there was one character that I wished was romanceable, and he wasn't.
I'm trying to think of who that could be because there was also a character who I wanted to be romanceable, and like it just.
Carlos. It was Carlos.
Oh yeah, Carlos.
Yes, he's just funny goober. What about you? Who was the character?
I it sounds bad, but I forget her name. It was the other owner of the nightclub, the lady.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. She scares me.
Yeah, she can be like my scary goth nightclub owner GF.
I'm starting to think Rowan was right, man.
Yeah, and also yeah, that's something I completely forgot about. Is like there is also like a mystical element to the world that they don't go too into that I wish they explored more, and that I thought with characters like Rowan they would like elaborate more on it.
Yeah, there's definitely some supernatural elements other than the mystical weapons throughout the world, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah, like I do think they mentioned that like werewolves and vampires exist in this world.
Yeah, I think so. Well, not werewolves. They called them something different, but yeah.
Oh yeah, like their version of werewolves. But I think it's great that our main criticism of the game is that we want more from it, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of games that have way too much to offer. So whenever there's a game that has too little to offer, I really enjoyed it. It really bums me out, but makes me hope that there's more for it in the future type thing, if that makes sense. So it's a criticism and support at the same time.
Yeah, I would fully support a Boyfriend Dungeon 2 if it were to come out, which I think this one was pretty popular, right? Like I know it originally started on Kickstarter and they received well above their original goal. And it's been pretty popular in like the Let's Play sphere, I believe. So
It makes me want to try Dream Daddy because I've been told to play that by some friends, and I'm like, well, if I played something called Boyfriend Dungeon, might as well.
yeah, I feel like this might be the visual novel dating sim trap for me, right? Like I start playing Boyfriend Dungeon, and I was like, I could kind of like play more games like this, and then I slowly but surely I go into like the deep end and start playing things like How to Pull Boyfriend.
I will say the one visual novel dating sim I played before this was for a meme, and it was Hooked on You, a Dead by Daylight dating sim, and I didn't really like that because it was just pure visual novel. So if I were to play more games like this, it would need something other than visual novel to keep me entertained.
And that's why something like this and like the Ace Attorney series is great because there's actual gameplay between all like the reading and the character interactions.
Time to go play Hootie Pot.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's another great example of of a game that's a little more than a visual novel. Yeah, just to elaborate on your earlier point is I think it's probably just because in 2023 I've been trying to play a lot more newer games that have been coming out, and it just so happens a lot of them are very they're packed with content, like Tears of the Kingdom. I finished that, we both did, but there's still so much to do in there, and we're both working on Final Fantasy 16 now, right?
Yes, we both are. I'm a little farther than you, so I'm not gonna talk about too much story stuff, but I'm willing to get into some of that stuff if you wanna. I will say in advance though, possible spoiler warnings up to the midway point of the game, as both Rex and I have reached that point.
Yeah, so just I'll just give this as the kind of like the spoiler point, or at least where I've gotten to is if you yeah, I've gotten to the point where I have like 3 different sets of iconic abilities. So if you have not reached that point, perhaps be wary if you're gonna listen.
Yeah, if not, I'll just insert right here the time. For where to skip to. So yeah, let's get into this. I just want to rip the band-aid right off. What? Yeah, one of my favorite game series, Plague Tale. You know, I was playing the beginning of the game, and Joshua, your brother, in the very beginning of the game, who's the Phoenix, has the same voice actor as Hugo Daerun from Plague Tale: Innocence in Requiem, and I found myself laughing because in Requiem, Hugo is also compared to a phoenix and all that stuff and has all these mystical powers. And I was like, and Clive's a Misia, and he wants to protect Hugo, Joshua. And you, and as the game progresses, you figure out more and more there's more similarities to Plague Tale in between those two games. And I'm like, did Tetsuya Nomura and Yoshi P play Plague Tale and just hire that voice actor on purpose just to give me flashbacks?
Yeah, fortunately and unfortunately, I am also Plague Tale brained because I played both of them last year. And the first thing I thought of when I heard Joshua's voice is like, this is totally Hugo Daroon. And yeah, like even like his character, like he kind of has like a weak constitution at the beginning of the game, and it's like, oh my god, they're both burdened with like this power that's an artifact from like being born, and they were just kind of like inherited it, and they both have like that.
Sort of like the Prima Macula.
Yeah, and they both have that sibling dynamic with their older sibling where they want to protect them, but at the same time, like they can't really fully comprehend, what they're going through.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Another thing I want to talk about because that's really all to mention about the Plague Tale comparisons. I just find it hilarious. Uh, is Sid Highwind? Well, just Sid in this game, but Sid in every Final Fantasy game. Yeah, Sid Dolphus. I love Sid in every game, and some plot points that happen towards like the midpoint of the game after a point of no return uh breaks my half heart into a quarter.
I will say, not completely related, but kind of related, is that there is a point of no return, kind of like, I'd say like maybe a third or a quarter through the game.
Just before the halfway point, I would say.
Yeah, and the game warns you. It's like once you start this mission, you can't finish it. And I was like, well, that's not a huge deal because I was just planning on starting it and finishing it in one sitting anyways. But little did I realize that that is right before like a time skip, and all the side quests that I haven't done, they just kind of disappear. And I will admit, I looked it up, and I didn't really miss out on much by not doing those side quests, but I'm still kind of disappointed. But it's also not a huge deal because the side quests in this game, I don't know how many of them you've done, Handy, but I find in comparison to the main story, which has been excellent so far, and like it has so many set pieces, the side quests just feel like the comparison I've seen thrown around is like they feel like MMO side quests, right?
Yeah, they had the Final Fantasy 14 director on board as well as the Kingdom Hearts directors on board as well, so a lot of the different games that Square has made, all their directors' influences on the game are very visible in like the side quest and with Kingdom Hearts, the icon battles, and yeah.
And one of the abilities is straight up like shot lock from Kingdom Hearts 3.
The Kingdom Key shot lock to be precise, Mr. Rex.
Yeah, and I will add on to that and say that the combat director was the combat director for Dragon's Dogma and Devil May Cry, and you can really see especially in the gameplay, you can see the Devil May Cry influence there. Like some of the moves just remind me of something straight out of Devil May Cry. Like there's like a forward thrust move that's like just like Dante's move. I forgot what it's called. And there is a move that summons projectiles that surround you that help you enable your combos, which remind me of like a move that Virgil does where he summons swords around him.
Virgil's the best guy around. I won't say more because You've been calling me out recently, so I can't say my opinions on Virgil.
It's okay, Andy. I'm just acknowledging the Virgil in the room. You're not alone in this. Like, have you seen the Devil May Cry community? Like, come on. What control scheme do you play on? Do you just play on the default control scheme?
I don't mess with it. That's too much work.
Because I've been trying to find like a control scheme that fits me, and I still haven't really found one because two of the like main mechanics that you get as a part of your core moveset is that you can charge your magic attack and you can charge your melee attack. But the default control scheme has your melee assigned to square and your magic assigned to triangle. And you can't really hold both of those down at the same time. I find it kind of awkward, so I've been messing around with which control scheme I want to do. I've picked control scheme F, but honestly, I would just much rather you be able to reassign buttons, and I'm sure you can speak to how how easy or difficult that would be. Because I'm sure there's like some behind the scenes thing that just doesn't allow them to let players map their own controls.
Controllers lack enough inputs to do said things. That's basically summarizing it.
And some, and especially things that are like combinations of buttons. Like your thrust attack is like a cross plus square, and there's a few other like button combinations that like it'd probably be not easy to reprogram all of those. So, but gameplay wise, like the combat is like so flashy and it's so fun. I love it. I love doing combos, and I really think that players should try to at least get the second set of iconic abilities, just so they have more tools to mess around with, because I honestly thought it was kind of boring at the beginning of the game, and that doesn't last too long. It's really just like a few hours. But I had like that because really don't know anything about what to expect from this game, and I was just like, I hope it gets more complex later, and boy, it does get complex.
I thought I would have more to talk about this game, but the only other thing I can really think of is my biggest criticism of this game. Can Jill and Clive just fuck already?
Dude, you know what happens, right? Like, there's time skips. What, you think they're just like living in the same room together without?
Listen. You see how dumb Clive is. I am not putting that past him for nothing to happen like the 14 plus years that have gone by in the two time skips.
He's like a guts like berserk revenge pilled at the beginning of the game. Like he's revenge sexual.
But my theory is nothing has happened in between them because Clive is too dumb. That is my personal working theory, and it will stay that way until I'm proved wrong.
It is kind of funny to me that like Clive is this super serious, like knightly focused character, you know, but like the fan characterization, and I don't disagree, is that he's kind of like a himbo, because he kind of is, and he just like wears like this tight leather outfit like with a huge like chest window, and I'm glad the roles are reversed, that the that the guy has like the slutty outfit, and the woman has like the more regal outfit. It's great.
In this Final Fantasy game, we decided to switch it up by killing off the main male protagonist versus the female love interest.
I guess most of what I want to say so far are criticisms, and I don't want to rag on the game too much because I really am enjoying it. It's just that there's certain aspects of it which I wish I can't even say like improved upon, because I think like they achieved what they wanted to do. Like, this is more of a character action game than it is an RPG. I don't really think most people will disagree with that. Like, you don't really... Like, it's more of a Devil May Cry, because you don't really have any stats to invest in, and, like, all your equipment is just... Like, I've never had to choose between... Yeah, I've never had to choose between, like, two pieces of equipment, really, because it's usually like, oh, this gives you, like, 20 defense, and this gives you like 50 defense plus 10 attack. It's that easy. And yeah, like I mentioned earlier, the side quests and the map, like a lot of like the open areas, just don't feel that lively. Yeah, or open. Like you can open up the map and you can kind of just see like you. I'll open up the map, yeah, and like I'll see like the whole area, and I'll be like, this isn't really that like it's no Tears of the Kingdom. Not that it even should be a Tears of the Kingdom, but I think like especially like compared to 15, right, where like the open world areas were like huge, and like there was a lot to do in them. You could like find dungeons, you could like go fishing, you could ride chocobos, and compared to that, like this is very much a story focused game, which that's one of those things where for better or for worse it is what it is, and so far I don't really mind because I just think about like my doomsday calendar of like things coming out in the month of October, and I'm like I have to get Final Fantasy 16 over with, which is not to say I'm not enjoying my time with it or like I don't want to like spend time with it.
You have a doomsday calendar of things to already play soon, but you know what you should have made time for, and I hope you did.
Oh wait, what is this? What is this? What is this transition?
You should have made some time for the yearly blessing that our Lord and Savior Gabe Newell has blessed us with once again, the Steam sale. What did you take advantage of it?
Andy, this is probably the most I've ever spent on like a Steam sale. I just like went hard for some reason this summer, and much to my dismay, even because I'm like, what am I doing? I know I have other games to play, but I couldn't help myself. So I bought a mix of games that I've been eyeing for a while, games that people have recommended me, and
One Shot.
yeah, I did end up I didn't end up buying One Shot, but I own One Shot, and let me think, and like recent like smaller low key indie releases. Well, one thing I can talk about is that Oxenfree 2 came out recently, and and I replayed Oxenfree 1 today actually. That's and it was pretty fun. It's just it's a very short game, but it's meant to be replayed, and the game kind of directly kind of hints to you that you should replay it, cuz it's essentially like a time loop story in a way, and it's about this group of kids who they go to have some fun on an island, and they end up awakening this sleeping sleeping colony of ghosts. I don't want to spoil it too much because I think watching the plot unravel and figuring it out on your own is really fun, and a lot of the game is piecing together this mystery of what these ghosts want from you, like why is this happening, and like where are they coming from, and like how to save you and your friends from this like disastrous fate. And it has to do a lot with like the major motifs are like time loops, like people's like regrets and decisions, and triangles.
I'll give it a check out sometime. Do you want me to go first or you to go first? Because I have my list up right here.
All right, yeah, you can go. Don't worry. I killed the time.
Okay, but first of all, this is a judgment-free zone, right? Right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So, started off by buying Boyfriend Dungeon in One Shot. Finished Boyfriend Dungeon. Haven't played One Shot yet, but I'm very excited for that. Nico with the light. That's all I know about the game. I also bought Crypta the Necrodancer in Limbo because I want to 100% those games because my Steam, I like categorizing by which I haven't 100%ed and which I have, and it's like a backlog where I pick out games that I've purchased and will 100% them and then start playing another game type thing. It's like sort of a bookshelf for me to fully enjoy a game to its most capabilities. My goal is to eventually reach 100%.
My God.
I then I I
If you're not comfortable, you can skip over it, or you can come back to it.
I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable. So I'm on a laptop right now, right? And so I'm decided to play more of like the idle games and get those 100% out of the way. So I jokingly started clearing through, well, jokingly because it was in there in my Steam library from like forever ago. I decided to 100% blush, but lo and behold, to to my hilarious realization is you need the DLC characters to get their achievements.
What does 100%ing that game even entail?
Maxing out all the characters in their love ranks, but you need all the DLC characters for Blush to get their achievements as well. So I spent $10 on Blush DLC as well, and finished that game. So yeah, I was like, no one better be looking at my Steam activity right now. Jesus Christ.
Appear offline forever.
Yeah, yeah. But I just time skipped through the game and just finished it real quickly. Screw you, I'll time skip through my idle games if I don't want to play them. Blush being one that I would skip through.
Wow, the Blush 18 plus uncut DLC.
I did not buy that DLC, luckily. Thank God that's not needed. Okay, now you go. What did you get after hearing my amazing purchases?
Okay, I unnecessarily went hard on the Steam sale. So I bought handy recommendations were Alien Isolation. So I played that back in the day on my PS4, but I want to stream that again with the DLC. Come this Halloween season, so that should be fun. Papers, Please, instant classic. I've never actually played that, so I feel like I owe it to myself.
I'm shocked. How did you not get that until I recommended?
Yeah, it's one of those games where I watched someone play it, and I was like, this is basically the same thing, but I feel like with Papers, Please, it really isn't. And it's been long enough where I've forgotten a lot of the, I guess, like, story stuff and, like, the optimization, like, how to get everyone to survive type deal. So I think, like, starting anew would be fun. Ori and the Blind Forest, that is a Metroidvania type game, correct?
One of my favorite Metroidvanias beats Hollow Knight for me, I will say.
Wow. Incendiary statement. You know, it also has like the classic have you ever seen the tweet where it's like peak character design is just like a white blob with eyes? That's what Ori is. Yeah, and then I bought Hylix, which is something of my own initiative, and it's an RPG Maker game entirely animated in clay. And yeah, there's also a Hylix 2, and it's super weird. It's great, and it's like uncut creativity, which is why I wanted to give it a try. I bought Hunt Showdown. It's a game where I've been eyeing it for a while, PvPvE, and my friends recently got into it, so I was like, fuck it, I may as well pull the trigger.
Plays it for 1 hour, never again.
Very well. I bought Fear and Hunger, which is a game that's pretty old, but is been recently getting Steam. Pun not intended. Just because it's been getting more popular. It's a RPG Maker with like a lot of body horror and like religious themes, and I honestly don't know too much about it, and I'd rather keep it that way because it's like one of those games, like kind of like a Silent Hill Signalis type situation. Unrailed, another multiplayer game that I bought because of my friends, and this one is about making a train and just getting it from one side to the other. Hi-Fi Rush, the Tango Gameworks Shadow Drop freaking hit of the year so far. I know it's like basically like kind of akin to Crypt of the Necrodancer. It's like a character action rhythm game, which should be fun because I absolutely love rhythm games, and it also features like licensed music, which is great, but also might not be great if I try to stream it.
Yeah, you can't stream it. Don't even try.
Oh yeah, okay, I'll just play it on my own then. That I kind of freed myself with that. And Halls of Torment is a Vampire Survivors type game with like more RPG elements, and it has like a few deeper mechanics to it than Vampire Slayer. And I bought this game because I heard it recommended to me on a podcast, and I was like, sure, I like it. It's also like another, I believe it's in early access right now, but it should be coming out of early access later this year. Signalis. I've heard that this is a Silent Hill inspired like survival horror isometric camera angle game, which takes place in the future. You play as a robot, and I don't really know much more than that. And I think it's better. It's another one of those games where like I want to go in knowing the least amount as possible, and that is going to be reserved for spooky September stream. And then only got a few left. Dave the Diver is a game where you explore the ocean, and I'm like, I fucking love. I don't know what it is with me in ocean games. Like I played both Subnauticas last year. I played Dredge this year. I actually played Abzu last year as well. That was a beautiful game. And
Will Bucket Hat Villa be making a return with his beard when he plays this game?
you know, it very well might, because I don't know when the new Dredge update is supposed to come out, but the beard's still here, so I can get like a little beard emote. And last few games, Oxenfree 2, Lost Signals, which obviously the sequel to Oxenfree, where I believe it takes place a few years after the first game, and you play as a completely different cast of characters. So I'm excited to see how that story plays out, just because I love Oxenfree, the first one, so much. And the last one, which I kind of regret buying this, but at the same time I don't, because it was like $5. Murder by Numbers. It is it's a visual novel type game, like like an Ace Attorney type game, except instead of like having to like search for clues and stuff and like interrogate people, you play P-Cross, which is...
Oh, Picross? I fucking love Picross. Give me more nonograms.
Yeah, I fucking love Picross too. Dude, this game, you know what sucks but is also great for everyone else? Right now, Murder by Numbers is free on Epic Game Store.
Oh, I thought you were about to stay on Steam. I was literally about to go get it, man. How much is it on Steam?
During the sale it was like $5, which I thought about returning it and picking it up on EGS, but I was like, I'm luckily enough to be in a socioeconomic status where I don't have to care too much about $5.
You didn't pick up Corpse Party. I didn't hear Corpse Party in this. Disappointed.
Okay, Corpse Party is one of those games where it's like I have to be in a certain mood to play it, and that mood is depressed. And like I know of Corpse Party's reputation. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm ever gonna be ready to play this game. But yeah, but hey, it's not going anywhere, I'm sure. And Fear and Hunger kind of also fills in that Corpse Party niche, where games that make you sad and that are made in RPG Maker.
You mean Omori? Where's the Kel game? The superly happy version where it's just Kel playing basketball, shooting hoops. Where's that?
Yeah, just enjoying a refreshing orange Joe. Golly, that's what the world needs right now. Someone, the message Omocat on twitch.tv/Omocat and say like, hey, Kel Mori, when's it happening? So yeah, that is those are the sins that I've carried from the Steam sale.
Do you want to know something hilarious? Other than 100%ing Blush and beating Hall Boyfriend Dungeon, I haven't touched the other games yet from the summer sale that I picked up, because I just started the task of 100%ing Plague Inc. Evolved. And hold on, let me bring it up here. I currently have 23% of all achievements unlocked now.
Yeah, you said you have like 60 something achievements out of what, like 200 something?
I had 23 yesterday when I told you. I'm now at 56 of 234. So I love to play games on the phone, so this has always been a goal.
There are some games though where like the achievements in them are insane. Like I'm thinking about there's an achievement in Darkest Dungeon 2 which requires you to beat all 5 acts of the game with the same party, and that is like professional level. Like you need to know your stuff and like play the meta to get that achievement. So I'm wondering if like what's the hardest achievement to get in Plague Inc.
I played the crap out of Plague Inc., so I know how all the viruses work. The only ones that will be hard for me to get are the ones that require specific RNG for certain events to pop and then me to act immediately upon them in a manner to trigger another RNG event to get a certain achievement for each of those RNG events. And there's like 50 of those. And that's yeah, those will be the hard ones. Other than that, it's just mostly beating everything on the different difficulties and trying out all the mixes of like different symptoms and different transmissions and different abilities and all that. But yeah, what are you? Is there anything you're trying to 100% on Steam? I'm curious because I haven't really talked to you about that.
I still haven't 100%ed Boyfriend Dungeon achievement wise, but I might do that.
Good luck on getting first place in all three of those races, which you hate so much.
Oh my fucking lord. I'm pretty close to getting 100% in Oxenfree 1. I only have 3 achievements left out of 13. And usually like 100% achievements for me is it either has to be A, easy, or B, I have to really enjoy the game. And yeah, and one thing that I kind of want to do is I want to do a Dark Souls series run, and I think inevitably I'm going to get 100% achievements in those games, just because the Dark Souls series is very close to me.
From Software and its love of making me want to die.
Yeah, I am curious that I don't know how many games that I have 100% achievements in on Steam.
I have Elden Ring, and I think you have Elden Ring as well.
Oh yeah, I do too. I only have 15. Oh yeah, Elden Ring, Subnautica Below Zero, Dredge, Say No More, The Walking Dead Season 2, Road 96, Firewatch, Hexalogic, Choo Choo Charles, Iron Lung, Save Room, Post Void, Frog Detective 1, and then Slay the Princess demo.
On that note, though, with all this 100%ing talk and all that, we're nearing the end, and I sort of want to end this episode off by just asking anyone that's actually still listening at this point, what did you get from the sale? Is there anything that you're trying to 100%? What's your opinions on our dumb opinions? Because I know a lot of our opinions are dumb. It's pretty obvious. Maybe not Rex's, but definitely mine.
Hey, don't say that. You know, I will add as a quick anecdote, a podcast that I've been listening to it's called Think Fresh. And guess what the podcast is about?
Dumb opinions?
No, it is solely about Subway. It's the only thing they talk about on Think Fresh, the podcast, is Subway. And they have over 200 episodes.
It's been fun, Rex, as always. And see you whenever the next episode comes out.
Yeah, another great episode. I can't wait for people to tell me what they bought during the summer Steam sale, and I'll look at my wallet and I'll scowl my eyebrows and be like, I hate you. Bye!